In this chapter, we come face to face with one of life's hardest yet most essential disciplines: the ability to force yourself to do what is truly important, even when every fiber of your being resists. Most people live their days reacting to whatever demands their attention at the moment. They chase distractions, drown in small tasks, and postpone the few actions that could genuinely change their lives. But greatness, progress, and fulfillment are reserved for those who can rise above this pattern. Those who choose to act not out of comfort, but out of purpose. Psalm 1. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize they have been living on autopilot, reacting, drifting, existing without a clear direction. That moment, though uncomfortable, is sacred, because it is the beginning of awareness. This is the awakening of purpose, the first spark that separates those who live by intention from those who live by impulse. You see, most people never stop to ask themselves what truly matters. They fill their days with tasks, obligations, and noise, yet deep inside, they feel a quiet emptiness, a sense that something vital is missing. They chase validation, comfort, and distraction, mistaking business for progress. But you, standing here now, are ready for something more. You are ready to take control of your life and force yourself to focus only on what is essential. The awakening of purpose begins with brutal honesty. The courage to look at your life and admit that not everything you do carries meaning. Every day you make hundreds of choices, and each one either pulls you closer to your purpose or pushes you further from it. When you begin to question where your time goes, you start to see the truth. Much of what we call important is only urgent noise. True importance lies in what aligns with your values, your goals, and your higher vision of who you want to become. To awaken to purpose, you must strip away the layers of confusion that society, fear, and comfort have built around you. You must ask yourself, what am I here to do? What impact do I want to leave behind? What would make my life meaningful if everything else was taken away? The answers won't appear instantly, but the act of asking opens a door within your soul. From that door flows clarity, and with clarity comes power. The power to act with direction, not just movement. Most people confuse activity with achievement, but activity without intention is just motion without meaning. When you awaken to purpose, every step, every effort, and every decision begins to serve something larger than yourself. You start to filter your world differently. You stop saying yes to everything and begin saying yes only to what truly matters. You realize that time is not something you spend, it's something you invest, and every investment shapes your destiny. Awakening to purpose demands courage, because once you know what truly matters, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You will see clearly how much time you've wasted, how often you've avoided the hard path, and how fear has disguised itself as logic. But that realization is not meant to shame you, it is meant to free you. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge, and this awakening is your invitation to change everything. It teaches you to trade the comfort of confusion for the challenge of clarity. It forces you to confront the truth that your life's direction is not written by fate, it is written by focus. When you wake up to your purpose, ordinary days become meaningful. Even small actions begin to carry weight. Waking up early, reading a book, saying no to distractions. Each one becomes a declaration of who you are choosing to become. You stop asking for easy days and start asking for meaningful ones. And as this awareness deepens, you begin to see the world differently. You no longer envy those who seem lucky. You respect those who are disciplined. You no longer chase what shines, you pursue what sustains. You no longer wait for perfect conditions, you create them. The awakening of purpose transforms your relationship with time, effort, and failure. You understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is the path to it. You realize that the pain of growth is far more fulfilling than the comfort of stagnation. And you discover that life becomes infinitely more rewarding when every choice you make serves a clear mission. To force yourself to do what is important, you must first know what is important, And that begins here, in this awakening. This is the first act of power, deciding that you will no longer live by accident. You will no longer drift with the current of habit, distraction, and fear. From this moment on, you will choose direction over speed, depth over surface, and purpose over comfort. Because once you awaken to what truly matters, you can never again return to who you were. You will have seen the truth, that your time is your life, your focus is your power, and your purpose is your reason for being. That awakening is where transformation truly begins. Chapter 2: Comfort. The soft, seductive force that promises peace but delivers paralysis. It feels warm, familiar, and harmless, yet it quietly suffocates your potential, one easy decision at a time. This is the enemy called comfort, and it is far more dangerous than failure, fear, or pain. Comfort disguises itself as happiness, but it is the slow erosion of your strength, your discipline, and your purpose. The more you seek it, the weaker you become. The more you surrender to it, the less you live. Every person who has ever achieved greatness, built something extraordinary, or discovered their highest self has done so by walking away from comfort and embracing discomfort as their teacher. Because comfort never demands more of you, but discomfort does. It calls forth the parts of you that you never knew existed. Comfort wants you to stay still, but growth requires movement, and movement often hurts. To grow, to evolve, to become what you are capable of becoming, you must be willing to leave behind the illusion of safety and step into the unknown, where challenge lives. That is where your power is born. Most people live in invisible prisons built from comfort. They wake up at the same time, think the same thoughts, and repeat the same patterns, all while wishing for a different life. But nothing changes, because change requires discomfort, and discomfort feels like danger. The human brain is wired to avoid pain and seek ease, but that instinct, once useful for survival, now works against you in the modern world. We are no longer running from predators. We are running from effort. We are no longer fighting to survive. We are fighting to stay awake in a world that numbs us with endless distraction and comfort. Comfort tells you that you deserve a break before you've earned it, that tomorrow is a better day to start, that it's okay to take it easy. But deep down, you know the truth. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you weaken your will. The problem with comfort is not that it feels good, it's that it makes you forget how good growth feels. There is a fire inside you that only discomfort can ignite. When you step into what challenges you, when you force yourself to do the difficult, the uncertain, the demanding, you awaken that fire, and it begins to burn away fear, doubt, and laziness. Comfort, on the other hand, keeps that fire dim. It tells you you're fine as you are, that life is meant to be easy, but easy has never built strength. Easy has never built character. Easy has never built legends. Every hero, every innovator, every champion in history chose discomfort. They woke up early when they didn't feel like it, trained when no one was watching, worked on their craft when others rested. They understood something that most people don't, that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. When you live in comfort, your potential rots slowly. You become a prisoner to your habits, to your couch, to your excuses. You tell yourself stories. I'll start when I have more time. I'm not ready yet. I just need to rest a bit. But those stories are chains. They keep you from becoming who you could be. Discomfort, however, frees you. It stretches you, it tests you, and in that tension you grow stronger. It teaches you that you are capable of far more than you imagined. When you run toward what is hard instead of away from it, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You start to crave challenge instead of comfort because you begin to associate pain with progress. The cold shower, the hard workout, the difficult conversation, the long hours spent on your goals, all of these moments teach your mind to obey your purpose instead of your impulses. They teach you resilience. They teach you power. You cannot become great if you are not willing to be uncomfortable. Comfort keeps you where you are. Discomfort takes you where you must go. Think of a muscle. It grows only when it is torn and rebuilt through resistance. Your mind, your character, your destiny are no different. The resistance you face today is the strength you will carry tomorrow. When you feel the urge to avoid something hard, recognize it for what it is: a signal. Discomfort means you're in the right place. It means you're doing the work that matters. It means you're building the foundation for the person you're becoming. Instead of running from it, lean into it. Welcome it. Let it shape you. Tell yourself, if it's uncomfortable, it's important. The truth is, comfort will always exist as an option. The easy choice, the soft bed, the warm excuse. But every time you choose it over growth, you delay your dreams. Every comfort you surrender to takes a small piece of your potential with it. Imagine where you could be a year from now if you simply stopped giving in to comfort. Imagine how your life would change if you did what was hard every day on purpose. That's the life of mastery, not one of ease, but of effort. The strongest people aren't those without fear or pain. They're those who've learned to walk through it without flinching. They've learned that comfort is the enemy of achievement, and that to live fully, you must be willing to suffer strategically. Suffering with purpose transforms into strength. Suffering without purpose becomes misery. Choose the first. When you feel lazy, unmotivated, or uncertain, remind yourself this feeling is not a signal to stop. It's an invitation to grow. The person you want to become lives on the other side of that feeling. If you can just push through the resistance long enough, you'll find freedom waiting. Because true freedom is not found in ease, it's found in mastery over yourself. To conquer comfort is to conquer fear, procrastination, and weakness. It is to take back your power from the parts of you that want to remain small. So force yourself to do what's uncomfortable. Wake up earlier than you want to. Work longer than you feel like. Speak up when your voice trembles. Try when you're unsure. Move when you're afraid. Every time you do, you are rewriting your destiny brick by brick, action by action. You are declaring to the world and to yourself that you will not be ruled by ease, but by purpose. Because comfort will give you a pleasant present, but discomfort will give you a powerful future. Choose the future. Choose growth. Choose discomfort. That is how you rise, not by avoiding the pain, but by mastering it. And once you learn to see discomfort not as an obstacle but as an ally, you become unstoppable, because you no longer need things to be easy. You only need them to be meaningful. And from that moment, comfort loses its grip on you forever. Chapter 3. The greatest power any human being can ever possess is the power of self-command, the ability to direct your mind, your emotions, and your actions according to your will, not your whims. Most people live as prisoners of their impulses. They move through life reacting rather than choosing. They allow moods, circumstances, and distractions to dictate their days, and then wonder why they feel powerless. But those who master self-command rise above this chaos. They do not wait to feel ready, inspired, or motivated. They act because they have decided to. They understand that success does not belong to the most talented or the most fortunate, but to the most disciplined, the ones who can command themselves to do what must be done, regardless of how they feel. The mind, left untrained, is like a wild horse, powerful yet unpredictable, constantly pulled toward comfort and ease. Self-command is the act of taming that horse, teaching it to obey you, to serve you, to carry you toward your vision rather than away from it. It begins the moment you stop negotiating with your excuses and start honoring your decisions. Every time you force yourself to do something difficult, you build an invisible muscle, the muscle of control, and with every repetition, it grows stronger. Over time, you begin to notice a shift. The things that once felt impossible become natural. The actions that once felt heavy become habits. That is the power of self-command. It transforms effort into identity. You no longer need to push yourself as much because discipline becomes who you are. But to reach that point, you must endure the resistance of your own mind, because your mind will always resist authority at first. It will whisper reasons to delay, to rest, to quit. It will try to convince you that you're being too hard on yourself, that you deserve to take it easy. Yet, every time you obey that voice, you strengthen your weakness. Every time you defy it, you strengthen your will. The battle for self-command happens in small, private moments. When the alarm rings and you want to sleep longer, when the work feels boring and you want to quit, when the temptation to waste time feels harmless. These are the moments that define you, because every small victory over impulse expands your control, and every surrender to laziness erodes it. The secret is to realize that your emotions are not commands, they are suggestions. You don't have to feel confident to take action. You don't have to feel motivated to start. You don't have to feel fearless to move forward. You simply need to act according to your principles, not your feelings. Feelings are fleeting, principles are steady, and when your life becomes governed by principles, like commitment, purpose, and integrity, you no longer rely on emotion to move you. You rely on decision. That is freedom. Self-command means leading yourself before you attempt to lead anyone else. It means being your own coach, your own guide, your own motivator. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to push you as hard as you can push yourself. You must become the one who sets the standard for your life. You must be willing to hold yourself accountable when no one is watching. That's what separates the average from the exceptional. The ability to do the right thing in silence, with no applause, no recognition, just the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are keeping your word to yourself. When you can command yourself in private, the world will obey you in public. Because true confidence is born from control over your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. Without it, you become a victim of circumstance. With it, you become the master of circumstance. Self-command does not mean suppressing your humanity. It means directing it towards something meaningful. It means acknowledging your emotions, but refusing to be ruled by them. It means recognizing that you can feel tired and still work, feel fear and still act, feel doubt and still believe. It is the art of moving forward no matter what. This art requires patience, repetition, and relentless honesty. You will fail at times, you will give in to temptation, you will lose control. But those moments are not the end. They are lessons. Every time you fall, you are given another chance to rise with greater strength. What matters is that you keep trying, that you keep building that internal authority brick by brick. Eventually, your mind learns that when you say, "We're doing this," it listens. That's the ultimate goal. To reach a point where your own word becomes law to yourself. Imagine how powerful your life would become if everything you decided to do simply got done, not because of mood, but because you decided it mattered. That level of reliability within yourself is the foundation of all greatness. The athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders we admire are not superhuman. They are simply people who have trained their minds to obey their purpose instead of their impulses. They feel the same fatigue, fear, and frustration as everyone else, but they act in spite of it. They have mastered the ability to command themselves, and that mastery makes them unstoppable. You must learn to do the same. Begin with small acts of self-command. Wake up when you say you will. Finish what you start. Speak with discipline. Eat with intention, work with focus. Each act is a promise kept to yourself, and every promise kept builds trust. Eventually, you will trust yourself so deeply that doubt will lose its power. That is when your confidence will no longer depend on circumstances. It will be born from proof, from the evidence of your own actions. Self-command also requires clarity. You cannot lead yourself effectively if you don't know where you're going. Define your priorities. Decide what matters most. Write your goals down and make them visible. Then, every time your mind tries to distract you, return to your priorities. Remind yourself, this is what I've chosen. This is who I'm becoming. That clarity makes self-command easier because it gives your discipline direction. Without direction, discipline feels like suffering. With direction, it feels like purpose. The truth is, your life will always be ruled by something, either by your impulses or by your intentions. Self-command ensures it is ruled by the latter. It is the invisible force that keeps you moving when the world tries to pull you off course. It's what allows you to stay calm in chaos, focused in noise, consistent in uncertainty, and once you master it, life changes dramatically. You stop being the kind of person who waits for luck or inspiration. You become the kind who creates results, the kind who doesn't just talk about goals but achieves them, the kind who can be trusted not only by others but by yourself. Because in the end, the measure of a person's strength is not how much they can control others, it's how completely they can control themselves. Master that, and no obstacle will ever defeat you for long. Master that, and you'll realize the truth. That the greatest freedom in life is not doing whatever you want, but having the power to make yourself do what's right. That is self-command. That is greatness. And that is where all transformation begins. Chapter 4. Discipline is not a gift reserved for the chosen few. It is a habit built through choice, repetition, and relentless self-respect. It is the bridge between dreams and reality, between intentions and results, between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. Yet most people misunderstand it. They think discipline is punishment, a harsh restriction that steals joy, when in truth it is the foundation of freedom. Without discipline, you become a slave to your moods, impulses, and distractions. With it, you gain the power to direct your life with purpose and precision. Building unshakable discipline begins the moment you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting from commitment instead of emotion. Feelings fluctuate, but decisions can stand firm if you anchor them in purpose. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Motivation is a spark. It ignites quickly and fades just as fast. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning even through the storms of doubt and fatigue. It is forged in repetition, doing the right thing again and again until it becomes a reflex. You don't need to be perfect, you only need to be consistent. Each time you honor your commitment, you carve strength into your character, and with each act of consistency, your mind begins to trust you. That trust is powerful because it becomes self-reinforcing. The more you keep your promises to yourself, the stronger your belief grows that you can, and the easier discipline becomes. It's not about grinding endlessly. It's about aligning your actions with your vision, day after day, even when no one is watching. Discipline is the art of showing up every single day, whether the world applauds you or not. It's waking up when your body craves sleep, focusing when your mind craves distraction, persisting when results seem invisible. Most people quit because they mistake slow progress for failure. They don't realize that consistency is silent at first. The results of discipline rarely appear overnight. They grow quietly beneath the surface, like roots strengthening in darkness before a tree ever reaches the light. You must trust that process. Every repetition matters. Every small act compounds. The disciplined understand that they are playing a long game. They are not chasing instant gratification, but lasting transformation. And the truth is, discipline is not something you build once and keep forever. It is something you renew daily. Every morning when you wake up, you start again. Every choice is a test. Will you do what's easy or what's necessary? Will you follow comfort or commitment? That decision determines the strength of your discipline. To build unshakable discipline, you must first understand your why. Without a reason, discipline becomes torture. With a reason, it becomes devotion. When your purpose is clear, sacrifice feels lighter. When your goal is vivid, effort feels meaningful. Discipline without vision is like running on a treadmill, exhausting but directionless. Vision gives discipline its power. It reminds you why you started when the path feels long. And the more vividly you can see your future, the person you want to become, the life you want to create, the easier it becomes to endure discomfort in the present. You begin to see every difficult action as a brick in the foundation of that future. That's how champions think. They don't see the early mornings, long hours, and sacrifices as suffering. They see them as investments. They understand that freedom is earned through structure, not the absence of it. The most disciplined people are the most liberated, because they are no longer trapped by their own excuses or weaknesses. Building discipline also requires environment design. You cannot expect to remain strong in a weak environment. Remove temptations, simplify your surroundings, and create systems that make the right choice easier to follow. If your phone distracts you, keep it out of reach during work. If your diet derails you, remove the junk food from your home. Don't rely on willpower alone. Design your life to support your goals. Willpower is a muscle that fatigues, systems are structures that sustain. That's why disciplined people plan their days, track their progress, and guard their time. They don't wait for perfect conditions because they know discipline is built in imperfect moments. They set clear standards for themselves and refuse to negotiate them. When you live by standards instead of moods, life becomes simpler. You know what must be done, and you do it. Not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. Another key to unshakable discipline is embracing discomfort as part of the process. Growth will always demand pain, and the undisciplined mind sees pain as a stop sign. The disciplined mind sees it as a milestone, proof of progress. You must train yourself to find meaning in struggle. When you work through difficulty, your brain rewires itself for endurance. It learns that it can handle resistance. Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes routine, and that's how your threshold for greatness expands. Comfort never built strong people. Discomfort does. Each time you push past resistance, you strengthen not only your body or skill, but your identity as someone who follows through. That identity becomes your shield in hard times. It whispers, "I've done hard things before." That's the voice of discipline. Calm, unwavering, grounded in truth. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You will stumble. You will miss days. You will fall short. But the difference between the disciplined and the undisciplined is that the disciplined always return. They don't dwell on mistakes. They correct them. They treat failure as feedback, not defeat. Every lapse becomes a lesson, and every lesson strengthens their resolve. That is how unshakable discipline is built. Not through flawless performance, but through relentless recommitment. It's about falling 7 times and standing up 8. Each rise adds to your power, until eventually giving up is no longer an option that even crosses your mind. To build discipline, you must also master your internal dialogue. The mind is persuasive, and it will often try to talk you out of effort. It will say, "You deserve rest," "You've done enough," or "It's not that important." But those thoughts are traps. Discipline means acknowledging those voices without obeying them. It means telling yourself, "I hear you, but I decide." You separate feeling from action. That separation is where self-mastery begins. You learn to observe your thoughts rather than be ruled by them. In doing so, you take back control from the impulsive part of your brain and hand it to the disciplined part that seeks progress. Consistency in small things creates strength for big things. If you can control your mornings, you can control your days. If you can control your thoughts, you can control your future. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Finish tasks you start. Practice patience when irritated. Each act, though small, is a training ground for greatness. Discipline compounds like interest. The longer you maintain it, the greater the reward. And when the results begin to appear, when you notice that your focus has sharpened, your confidence has grown, and your dreams are taking shape, you'll understand that discipline was never a burden. It was the price of freedom. In the end, unshakable discipline is not about forcing yourself endlessly. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to be forced. It's about transforming effort into identity. The disciplined life is a peaceful life because it removes confusion. You no longer waste energy deciding what to do, you simply do it. You no longer fight with yourself, you follow your plan. You no longer chase fleeting pleasure, you pursue lasting purpose. That's what unshakable discipline gives you: clarity, strength, and freedom. When you build discipline, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become the author of your destiny. You realize that your future isn't waiting for someone to rescue you, it's waiting for you to rise. And that rise begins today, in this very moment, every time you choose discipline over doubt, purpose over pleasure, and growth over comfort. That is how unshakable discipline is built, not overnight, but day by day, decision by decision, until doing what's right becomes who you are. HTR 5. There comes a moment in every journey of growth when motivation fades, excitement dwindles, and the mind begins to whisper, "Maybe later." This is the defining test of discipline, the point at which ordinary people quit and extraordinary people push forward. Discipline is not about talent, luck, or inspiration. It is about the unwavering commitment to act, even when every part of you wants to stop. Discipline is the bridge between goals and reality, the invisible force that turns intentions into habits and habits into achievements. It is what transforms dreams from fleeting thoughts into lived experiences. Without discipline, the greatest vision remains just a fantasy. With discipline, even the smallest action gains unstoppable momentum. Discipline begins the moment you stop negotiating with your emotions. Most people wait to feel ready, forgetting that feelings are temporary but results are permanent. The truth is, you will never always feel like doing what is right for you. There will always be resistance, mental, emotional, or physical, trying to pull you toward comfort. But those who rise above that resistance understand something powerful. You do not need to feel like it to do it. The act of showing up, especially when you don't want to, is the essence of self-mastery. Every time you do what is important instead of what is easy, you train your mind to obey your goals rather than your moods. This mental conditioning builds strength far greater than motivation ever could. Discipline does not ask for perfection. It asks for consistency. It does not demand giant leaps. It demands steady steps taken even on the days when your energy is low and your willpower is thin. Think about the people who have achieved lasting success. Athletes, creators, entrepreneurs, thinkers. What they share is not luck or genius, but the relentless habit of showing up, of doing the work, of sticking to their priorities no matter the noise around them. Discipline is the quiet power behind greatness, the force that works in silence while others are distracted by chaos. To develop true discipline, you must first understand your own nature. You must recognize the tricks your mind plays, how it seeks instant gratification, how it rationalizes laziness, how it justifies delay. Your mind will tell you, "You've worked enough today," or "You can start tomorrow," or "You deserve a break." But discipline is about not giving in to those comforting lies. It is about understanding that success has a price, and that price is paid through small, daily acts of effort that no one sees. The world glorifies the outcome, but the true reward lies in the process, in the unseen hours when you choose to keep going. Discipline requires structure, but it also requires belief. If you don't believe in the importance of your goal, you will never endure the grind that comes with it. When your why is strong enough, the how becomes manageable. You begin to see each disciplined act as an investment in your future self, the stronger, wiser, freer version of you that exists beyond comfort. And every day you practice discipline, you deposit into that future. You are building a foundation brick by brick, hour by hour, choice by choice. It's not glamorous, but it's sacred. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. It is the freedom from chaos, from regret, from the weight of wasted potential. The undisciplined person lives at the mercy of impulses. The disciplined person lives by intention. One is a slave to emotion, the other is the master of it. And mastery does not come overnight. It is carved out through repetition, through the daily decision to do the right thing, No matter how small, no matter how boring, no matter how invisible, discipline thrives in simplicity. It is not about having a perfect plan, but about executing consistently on the basics. Sleeping enough, eating well, focusing deeply, practicing patience, saying no to distractions. You cannot build extraordinary results on ordinary habits. Every time you choose to do what truly matters instead of what feels pleasant, you reinforce your identity as a disciplined person. Over time, it becomes who you are. You begin to crave progress more than comfort, consistency more than excitement, purpose more than pleasure. That transformation is the real victory, the shift from being controlled by your desires to controlling them. But remember, discipline without balance becomes self-destruction. The goal is not to live rigidly, but to live intentionally. You must learn to rest without quitting, to pause without stopping, to recover without surrendering. Rest is not weakness, it is part of the process. The disciplined person understands when to push and when to recharge, when to say, enough, for the day, and when to say, more, for the dream. This self-awareness keeps discipline sustainable. It transforms it from punishment into a way of life. There will be days when you slip, when your will falters, when your old habits whisper your name again. Do not let guilt consume you. Discipline is not about never failing, it is about never staying down. Forgive yourself quickly, correct your course, and continue forward. Every time you rise after falling, you reinforce your strength. The longer you stay in the game, the easier it becomes to play it well. Discipline compounds, just like money in a bank. The longer you keep it, the more powerful it grows. One day, the things that once required effort will become second nature. You will wake up and move through your day with ease, because discipline has become part of your identity. That self-image of being reliable, consistent, and strong will be your greatest asset. Discipline creates self-respect, and self-respect fuels higher standards. Once you know what it feels like to honor your word to yourself, you will never again be comfortable breaking it. The world begins to change for you when you begin to keep promises to yourself. That is where confidence is born, not from achievements, but from the integrity of action. Every morning you get up and do what needs to be done. You prove to yourself that you are in control. That feeling is priceless. In a world addicted to comfort and instant results, being disciplined is a superpower. While others quit when it gets hard, you stay steady. While others seek shortcuts, you seek growth. While others drift with emotion, you move with intention. And when the noise fades, the difference becomes undeniable. Those who practice discipline quietly will stand where the undisciplined cannot. So when you wake up tomorrow and your mind says, "Not today," smile and act anyway, because that is the moment of truth, the moment that defines whether you are ruled by weakness or by will. Remember, discipline is not something you do once. It is something you become through repetition, resilience, and resolve. And when you master it, nothing in the world can stop you from doing what is important, from creating what matters, and from living a life that reflects your highest potential. Discipline is not just a choice. It is the foundation of freedom, the heartbeat of purpose, and the key to becoming unstoppable. CFTR 6. There comes a point when every person striving for greatness must face the greatest obstacle of all: distraction. In today's world, distraction is not just a thief of time, it is a destroyer of potential, a silent killer of focus, and the enemy of purpose. We live in an age where the loudest voice wins attention, not the most important one, and every second our focus is under attack by notifications, messages, endless scrolling, and the illusion of connection. The truth is, distraction has become the easiest escape from doing what matters. When things get difficult or uncomfortable, the mind seeks relief, and distraction provides it instantly. But what distraction truly steals is not just minutes or hours. It steals meaning, progress, and clarity. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary things and those who remain stuck is not intelligence, luck, or opportunity. It is focus. the ability to give undivided attention to what truly matters while tuning out everything that doesn't. Focus is the purest form of power in a world drowning in noise. To force yourself to do what is important only, you must first reclaim your attention and guard it like a sacred resource. Because attention is life, whatever you give it to grows stronger, and whatever you neglect fades away. Every moment of focus is an investment in your future, while every moment lost to distraction is a withdrawal from your potential. Mastering focus begins with awareness. Awareness of what pulls you away, what numbs your drive, and what deceives you into thinking you're being productive when you're really avoiding the work that matters. The mind loves stimulation, it craves novelty because novelty releases comfort. But real growth happens in repetition, in the boring and consistent act of doing what must be done even when it lacks excitement. This is why focus feels hard. It demands the death of comfort. To stay focused, you must accept that progress is often quiet, slow, and invisible. There are no instant rewards for deep work. There is only the slow satisfaction of building something meaningful. Focus is an act of defiance against the modern world's addiction to speed and noise. It says, "I will not be controlled by distractions. I will control my attention." And that declaration alone separates you from the majority. The key to deep focus is not willpower alone, but structure. You must build an environment that supports your priorities and protects your time from unnecessary interruptions. Remove temptation before it tempts you. Silence the phone, block the sites, close the doors, and let the world wait. Because nothing of great value is ever built in chaos. Every masterpiece, invention, and transformation was born in stillness, in hours of focused labor that no one applauded at the time. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Start small, focus for 20 minutes deeply, then expand. Over time, you will find that your ability to concentrate becomes a superpower. You will work faster, think clearer, and achieve more in 1 hour of true focus than others do in an entire day of distraction. But remember, focus is not just about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. Productivity without purpose is still a form of distraction. You can fill your days with tasks and still accomplish nothing of real significance. Focus requires clarity, knowing what is truly worth your time. That means learning to say no often and unapologetically. Every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something vital. Protect your focus by protecting your priorities. You cannot do everything, but you can do the things that move your life forward. If you stop scattering your attention across 1,000 meaningless pursuits. True focus also requires emotional discipline. Many distractions are not external but internal: fear, doubt, anxiety, and the need for validation. These emotions whisper, "Check your phone," "Take a break," "You're not good enough," or "This isn't working." The undisciplined mind obeys those whispers. The focused mind observes them, breathes through them, and continues forward. Focus is not the absence of distraction, but the mastery of attention despite distraction. It is the art of choosing what deserves your energy and staying loyal to it until the job is done. And when you train yourself to do this, life transforms. You begin to move through your days with purpose instead of panic. You stop reacting to the world and start creating your own rhythm. You no longer measure progress by how busy you are, but by how intentional you are. Focus turns effort into excellence. It makes the difference between average and outstanding, between surviving and thriving. And yet, staying focused in the modern world demands a certain ruthlessness, the courage to disconnect. It means being willing to step away from noise, to be alone with your thoughts, to work in silence while others chase distractions disguised as opportunities. Focus often feels lonely because greatness often grows in solitude. But that solitude is sacred. It is where clarity forms, where creativity flourishes, where confidence is rebuilt. The person who can sit alone in stillness and do the work without needing attention or applause is unstoppable. They are no longer driven by external motivation. They are powered by internal mission. That is the ultimate freedom, to work with such depth that the outside world fades away. Focus demands you respect your time as if it were gold, because it is. Once a moment passes, it can never be reclaimed. Every wasted hour is an opportunity that dies silently. Imagine if you treated each minute with the same care you give to your most precious possessions. How different your days would look. The truth is, you don't need more time, you need more focus. You already have enough hours. You just need to stop spending them on what doesn't matter. When you eliminate distraction, time multiplies. Your life expands not by doing more, but by doing less better. This is the power of single tasking, immersing yourself fully in one meaningful activity at a time. The mind performs best when it's not fragmented. You are not built to multitask, you are built to create deeply. When you focus, you enter a state of flow, where time dissolves, creativity heightens, and your best work emerges effortlessly. That state is not reserved for geniuses. It's available to anyone disciplined enough to disconnect from noise. But to reach it, you must value your peace more than your phone, your goals more than gossip, your growth more than entertainment. You must remind yourself daily that every distraction has a cost, not just in time but in identity. You become what you focus on. If you focus on problems, you amplify them. If you focus on goals, you move toward them. If you focus on noise, you drown in it. But if you focus on what truly matters, you rise above everything that doesn't. Focus, then, is not just a skill. It is a way of living. It's a declaration that your energy will no longer be scattered across meaningless pursuits. It's the daily practice of returning, again and again, to what is important, even when the world tries to pull you away. It's choosing silence over noise, depth over distraction, creation over consumption. When you master this, your results will speak louder than your excuses. Your success will no longer depend on luck, but on consistency. The world will look at your achievements and call you gifted, but you will know the truth. You were simply focused. So guard your attention with your life, because in the end, you don't lose time to distraction, you lose yourself. And the person who learns to master focus, who trains their mind to stay present, who forces themselves to do what is important only, becomes unstoppable. In that mastery lies not just success, but peace. The peace that comes from knowing your energy is serving your highest purpose, and your life is aligned with what truly matters. Safety 7. There is a secret that separates those who live a life of fulfillment and focus from those who wander endlessly through distraction and doubt. It is the power of saying no. In a world where everyone demands your time, energy, and attention, learning to say no becomes not an act of selfishness, but an act of survival, an act of purpose, and ultimately, an act of self-respect. Most people waste their lives trying to please everyone, trying to meet every demand, trying to be everywhere at once, and in doing so, they scatter their power until nothing meaningful remains. They fear rejection, disapproval, or missed opportunities, but what they truly miss is themselves. They lose sight of their goals, their peace, and their priorities. To force yourself to do what is important only, you must first build the courage to say no, not with arrogance, but with clarity, conviction, and peace. Every yes you give is a piece of your time, and every piece of your time is a piece of your life. When you say yes to something meaningless, you are saying no to something meaningful. Life is not measured by how much you do, but by how much of what you do truly matters. The word no is not negative, it is sacred. It is a shield that protects your focus, your goals, and your dreams from being diluted by distractions. The people who achieve mastery, whether in art, business, or personal growth, are not those who do everything. They are those who do less but better. They understand that energy is finite and attention is fragile. They direct both toward what truly aligns with their purpose, allowing them to move forward with clarity and strength, while others drown in chaos. Learning to say no begins with knowing your values. When you are unsure of what matters most, you will say yes to everything. You will chase opportunities that don't belong to you, engage in conversations that drain you, and commit to goals that lead nowhere. But when your purpose is clear, decisions become easy. You begin to filter life through a powerful question. Does this serve my highest goal? If the answer is no, then your answer must also be no. This doesn't mean you become cold or unkind. It means you become intentional. It means you stop allowing guilt to guide your choices and start allowing growth to do so. Every strong yes must be protected by 1,000 disciplined no's. The reason most people never achieve mastery is because they spread themselves too thin. They start projects they never finish, make promises they never keep, and chase distractions disguised as opportunities. They confuse movement with progress, forgetting that direction matters more than speed. But those who dare to say no begin to reclaim their direction. They realize that true power lies not in addition, but in subtraction, in removing what doesn't align so what does can fully flourish. This principle applies to every area of life: relationships, work, health, and even thought. Saying no to toxic people protects your peace. Saying no to overcommitment protects your focus. Saying no to self-doubt protects your confidence. Saying no to procrastination protects your time. Every no you give is a yes to something greater: your purpose, your growth, your vision. But make no mistake, saying no is difficult, especially in a society that rewards business and glorifies exhaustion. We are conditioned to believe that being busy means being valuable, that being available means being kind, that saying yes means being successful. Yet the truth is, the most successful people guard their time with intensity. They understand that every yes comes with a cost, and that cost is often invisible. Lost peace, lost progress, lost potential. To say no, you must first overcome fear. The fear of missing out, the fear of being disliked, the fear of disappointing others. But remember this: you are not here to live by other people's expectations. You are here to live by your purpose. You cannot please everyone, and you were never meant to. Every time you say no, you draw a boundary that honors your truth. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They do not block people out, they allow the right things in. Without them, you will drown in the endless tide of other people's demands. With them, you stand tall in your power. The word no is a declaration of freedom, freedom from guilt, chaos, and unnecessary obligation. It allows you to live with intention instead of reaction. It gives you the space to focus deeply, rest properly, and create meaningfully. When you stop trying to do everything, you gain the energy to do the things that truly matter. But discipline is required. Every distraction will tempt you with the illusion of importance. Every request will come dressed in urgency. You will need the strength to pause, to breathe, and to ask, is this truly mine to do? Most things aren't. The world will continue to spin without your constant involvement. Saying no doesn't make you less compassionate, it makes your compassion sustainable. It doesn't make you less productive, it makes your productivity meaningful. It doesn't make you distant, it makes you deliberate. The truth is, every no builds focus, and focus builds freedom. The person who learns to say no without apology becomes unshakable. They no longer chase approval because they have built alignment. They no longer fear missing out because they are fully immersed in what matters most. They no longer waste time because they understand that time is life itself. To say no effectively, you must also master communication. A firm no does not need anger or justification. It can be calm, clear, and respectful. Thank you, but I can't commit to that right now. That's not a priority for me at the moment. I appreciate it, but I need to focus elsewhere. These simple statements are acts of strength. The moment you stop explaining yourself excessively is the moment you reclaim your power. Those who truly value you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't were never meant to stay. Your worth is not determined by how much you do for others, but by how true you remain to yourself. And the truth is, the more you say no to what doesn't serve you, the more opportunities will align with your path. The universe rewards clarity. When you stop sending mixed signals, when your actions match your priorities, doors begin to open, not randomly, but purposefully. You start attracting what fits, what grows you, and what fulfills you. But this alignment can only happen when you make room for it. And making room means saying no to clutter, both physical and mental. Simplify your life until only what matters remains. Because what is left after you say no to the unimportant is the essence of what will define you. Greatness is not built on endless expansion, it is built on intentional limitation. The more focused your energy, the more powerful your impact. The sun's light warms, but when concentrated, it ignites fire. The same is true for your attention. So, let your nose sharpen your focus until your yes becomes unstoppable. Remember, saying no is not about rejection. It is about redirection. It is choosing your path consciously rather than being dragged down one unconsciously. It is how you protect your mind, your energy, and your purpose from being diluted by noise. Every great achievement, every masterpiece, every revolution began with a no, a refusal to accept mediocrity, distraction, or misdirection. You too must learn this art if you wish to rise above the noise and live a life of depth and power. So, from this day forward, treat your yes like gold, rare, valuable, and intentional, and let your no's be the walls that protect the kingdom of your focus. Because in the end, success is not determined by how much you take on, but by how much you guard what truly matters. Saying no is not the end of opportunity, it is the beginning of mastery. CTR 8. There is a profound truth about growth that most people spend their whole lives avoiding, that comfort is the enemy of progress and resistance is the birthplace of strength. Every person desires success, fulfillment, and mastery, but few are willing to endure the discomfort required to achieve them. The moment you decide to force yourself to do what is important only, you enter a battlefield between what feels good now and what will feel right later. The human mind is wired to seek ease and avoid pain. It craves safety and predictability. Yet everything extraordinary exists beyond the edge of comfort. Growth begins the moment you step into discomfort with purpose, the moment you do the work you've been avoiding, and the moment you confront the challenges that make you question your limits. The truth is, pain is not your enemy. It is your guide, your teacher, your signal that something valuable is happening. Every struggle you face is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for the future you desire. But instead of embracing discomfort, most people run from it. They numb it with distractions, delay it with excuses, or disguise it with business. They choose short-term relief over long-term growth, and then wonder why their life feels stuck. You cannot expand while staying comfortable. The stronger, wiser, more focused version of you will never be born inside the walls of ease. It emerges only through effort, resistance, and challenge. Imagine a seed breaking through the soil. It must push against pressure and darkness before it ever reaches light. So must you. The discomfort you feel when you push yourself to grow is not punishment. It is transformation in progress. To live a life of meaning, you must learn to make discomfort your ally. You must train your mind to see resistance not as a wall, but as a doorway, a test that separates the committed from the curious. Every time you face resistance, it is life asking, "How badly do you want this?" And your answer is not given in words, but in persistence. The truth is, discomfort is the cost of greatness, and most people are unwilling to pay it. They crave the results but avoid the process. They want the reward but reject the discipline. They look at successful people and see only the glory, never the grind. But behind every triumph lies a mountain of discomfort, long nights, early mornings, moments of doubt, and countless times when quitting would have been easier. What separates the achievers from the dreamers is not luck. It is the willingness to endure. To force yourself to do what is important only, you must build endurance, not just physical endurance, but mental and emotional endurance. You must learn to sit with discomfort without seeking escape, to stay present in the struggle without collapsing into self-pity. Growth feels heavy because you are carrying the weight of your own potential, and potential always resists being lifted. The key is to move forward anyway, one small act of courage at a time. With every uncomfortable choice you make, every time you choose discipline over distraction, focus over comfort, purpose over pleasure, you train your mind to become resilient. You are rewiring your brain to associate discomfort with progress rather than pain. Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes natural, and what once scared you becomes your new standard. That is how transformation happens, slowly, silently, through the consistent act of facing what others avoid. Discomfort is the forge of character. It burns away weakness, laziness, and doubt, leaving behind the steel of resilience and confidence. Every challenge you conquer becomes evidence that you are capable of more than you thought. And once you experience that, your limits begin to dissolve. You stop fearing difficulty because you've tasted the power of overcoming it. You begin to crave growth instead of comfort because comfort no longer satisfies you. It feels like stagnation. You start to see discomfort as a form of guidance, showing you exactly where you need to go next. Whatever feels uncomfortable is often what will make you stronger. The conversation you're avoiding, the skill you're resisting learning, the project you're afraid to start. Those are the very things that hold your next level of growth. And yet, most people spend years avoiding them, waiting for the right moment that never comes. The truth is, there is no perfect time. The only time is now, and the only way to grow is through. Discomfort demands presence. It forces you to focus. You cannot hide or multitask your way through growth. You must feel it, live it, and breathe it. That is why it transforms you so deeply. When you choose to embrace discomfort, you are choosing to evolve. You are choosing to live intentionally instead of reactively. You are choosing the pain of progress over the pain of regret. Regret is the real suffering, the heavy, silent weight of knowing you could have done more but didn't. Discomfort, on the other hand, is temporary. It sharpens you, strengthens you, and eventually fades into pride. You must remind yourself pain is temporary, but pride is permanent. The soreness of effort lasts for a moment, but the satisfaction of growth lasts a lifetime. Every day you choose the harder right over the easier wrong. You are writing a new story, one of strength, not surrender. Discomfort also reveals truth. It shows you who you are when life stops being easy. When everything is going well, everyone can be positive, motivated, and kind. But when adversity hits, when plans fail, when fatigue sets in, when doubt creeps in, that's when character is revealed. That's when discipline, faith, and resilience are tested. And that's when transformation happens. You cannot discover your power without struggle, because struggle is what awakens it. You cannot build courage without fear, because courage only exists in the presence of fear. You cannot develop resilience without resistance, because resistance is what strengthens your will. So do not run from discomfort, seek it. Seek the challenges that stretch you, the goals that scare you, the experiences that demand more of you than you think you can give. That is where your greatest growth lives. And when you find yourself in discomfort, do not complain, celebrate it. It means you are alive, evolving, and growing. The pain of discipline, of effort, of focus is far lighter than the pain of stagnation. One day, you will look back and realize that the moments that felt the hardest were the moments that built you. You will see that every discomfort was a seed of strength, every failure a lesson, every struggle a preparation. The person you are becoming will thank you for the discomfort you endured, because that discomfort was not an obstacle. It was the path. To live a life of purpose, you must stop asking for it to be easy and start asking for it to be meaningful. Ease produces mediocrity. Struggle produces mastery. Every time you choose to face discomfort, you are voting for your future self, the version of you that is stronger, wiser, and freer. And when you live this way long enough, discomfort becomes your comfort zone. You stop fearing challenges because you know they are the path to greatness. You begin to welcome the hard days, knowing they are shaping you. You become unshakable, unstoppable, and untouchable, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So, when discomfort comes, and do not retreat. Stand tall, breathe. Remind yourself, this is where growth lives, and then move forward one deliberate step at a time, because the person who learns to endure discomfort with purpose is the person who will rise above all others. Comfort will make you soft, but discomfort will make you powerful. And in the end, the greatest victory is not in avoiding pain but in mastering it, using it as fuel to build a life defined not by ease, but by excellence. Software 9, the most powerful transformation in life, begins the moment you take full responsibility for everything that happens to you, refusing to see yourself as a victim and choosing instead to become the creator of your reality. This chapter is about the art of ownership, the ability to stop blaming circumstances, other people or fate for where you are, and to understand that your life is the direct reflection of your mindset, your habits, and your decisions. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. You stop waiting for luck, permission, or miracles, and you start realizing that every thought, action, and belief you hold is shaping your destiny. Most people never reach their potential because they waste years pointing fingers, blaming their past, their parents, their boss, their environment, or society. But here's the truth. As long as you're blaming something outside of yourself, you're giving that thing control over your life. The instant you say, "It's my responsibility," you reclaim control. Responsibility is not about guilt or shame, it's about power. The power to change, to grow, and to shape the life you desire. When you decide that everything is your responsibility, you stop being at the mercy of life and start mastering it. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" That shift in mindset changes everything. It turns pain into purpose, setbacks into stepping stones, and failures into feedback. Every difficulty becomes a chance to refine your character and deepen your wisdom. Responsibility teaches you resilience because it forces you to act, not react. The truth is, life will always test you. People will disappoint you, plans will fall apart, and unexpected challenges will appear. But when you live with responsibility, you don't crumble, you adapt. You stop fighting the storm and learn to dance in the rain. Taking responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you accept that it's your duty to respond with strength and intention. It's not about control over others, it's about control over yourself, your reactions, your emotions, and your mindset. The most successful people in the world aren't those who had perfect circumstances, they are those who refused to make excuses. They looked at every challenge as a test of leadership, every mistake as a lesson, and every failure as a step toward mastery. When you take ownership, you stop wishing and start working. You stop complaining about what you lack and start building what you need. You become proactive instead of reactive, disciplined instead of dependent, empowered instead of helpless. Life rewards those who act, not those who wait. Waiting for perfect conditions is just another form of fear disguised as patience. The truth is, your circumstances are not the problem, your response is. Two people can experience the same situation, and one will crumble while the other will rise. The difference lies in perspective. One says, "This is unfair," while the other says, "This is my training ground." One sees the obstacle, the other sees the opportunity. Responsibility allows you to see the world through the lens of possibility rather than limitation. You begin to understand that every event in your life, good or bad, is an opportunity to grow stronger. Even your pain becomes purposeful when you own it. Think about it: when you blame others, you give away your ability to change. But when you take responsibility, you gain clarity. You begin to see that every outcome in your life, your health, your relationships, your success, your peace, is connected to the choices you make daily. The food you eat, the words you speak, the thoughts you think, the people you surround yourself with, they all compound over time to create your reality. Responsibility is not glamorous, it's hard. It means looking in the mirror and being honest about what you've been avoiding, where you've been lazy, and what habits have been holding you back. It's uncomfortable because it forces you to confront your truth, but that discomfort is freedom, because once you see the truth, you can change it. Blame keeps you trapped in illusion. Responsibility sets you free. When you take ownership, you become unstoppable, because nothing outside of you has power over your peace or your progress. You realize that even when you can't control what happens, you can always control how you respond. That's where your real power lies. Imagine living a life where no matter what happens, success or failure, praise or criticism, love or rejection, you remain centered, calm, and in control. That's the power of responsibility. It transforms chaos into clarity and turns confusion into confidence. Every challenge becomes a test of character rather than a threat to your identity. Responsibility also builds integrity. It teaches you to follow through on your word, to keep promises to yourself, and to be accountable for your results. Most people break promises to themselves constantly. They say they'll start tomorrow, they'll change, someday, they'll try, when they feel ready. But responsibility doesn't wait for motivation, it acts out of commitment. The responsible person does what's necessary even when it's not easy, even when no one is watching. They understand that consistency is more powerful than intensity, and that discipline is freedom disguised as effort. Responsibility turns you from a passive consumer of life into an active creator. You stop being a passenger and take the wheel. You begin designing your life instead of drifting through it. And the more responsibility you take, the more power you gain. Your confidence grows because you start proving to yourself that you can handle whatever comes. Every challenge you overcome becomes a deposit in your mental bank of self-trust. You start believing deeply that you can rely on yourself. That belief is the foundation of greatness. The world respects those who take responsibility, not just for their success, but also for their mistakes. When you admit your errors without excuses, you gain credibility and trust. People are drawn to those who are accountable because accountability is rare in a world full of blame. Responsibility is leadership in its purest form, leading yourself before leading others. You cannot expect to lead anyone else effectively if you haven't learned to lead your own emotions, habits, and mindset. That's why personal responsibility is the foundation of every form of success: financial, emotional, spiritual, or relational. Without it, you will always be reacting to life rather than directing it. With it, you become unshakable. Even when things fall apart, you remain composed, because you know that no matter what happens, you can rebuild. You trust your own ability to adapt, to learn, and to persevere. That inner trust is what creates outer success. Taking responsibility is also the cure for victimhood. Victim mentality is seductive. It gives you comfort in the short term because it allows you to avoid accountability, but it steals your power in the long term because it convinces you that your life is out of your hands. Responsibility restores that power. It reminds you that you are not defined by your past, your pain, or your failures. You are defined by your decisions. Every day, you have the power to rewrite your story. You cannot control the beginning, but you can always control the next chapter. The moment you decide to take full responsibility, you stop being the effect of life and start being the cause. You begin to realize that everything you need to succeed, courage, creativity, discipline, resilience, already exists within you. You simply have to activate it by taking ownership. So the next time life challenges you, resist the urge to complain. Instead, ask, what can I do about this? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Those questions turn every problem into potential. Remember, responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. It means you are powerful enough to shape your life consciously, not passively. It means you are awake to your purpose and willing to work for it. It means you refuse to live by default and choose to live by design. And when you live that way, your life transforms, because the person who takes full responsibility for their life becomes unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because they become stronger. wiser and fully alive. Chapter 10. The true measure of discipline is not in how hard you can work when you feel inspired, but in how consistent you remain when motivation disappears and life becomes ordinary. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your reality, the invisible thread that holds success together when everything else falls apart. Many people wait to feel ready before they act, but the truth is, feelings are unreliable. Discipline is not. It does not ask whether you are in the mood or whether circumstances are ideal. It simply demands that you show up. The world belongs to those who act despite resistance, who wake up each day and move forward with intention, no matter how small the step may be. Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in motion. It is the decision to honor your commitments to yourself, even when no one is watching. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen the foundation of your character. Every time you break one, you weaken the trust between who you are and who you want to become. Discipline is how you earn that trust back. It's not glamorous, it's repetitive, it's lonely, and it often feels thankless, but it is the quiet force that builds greatness. People often admire the results of discipline, success, health, peace, but rarely the daily grind behind it, the early mornings, the long nights, the sacrifices, the rejections, and the failures that no one sees. Yet it is precisely in those hidden moments that strength is built. Discipline turns chaos into clarity because it gives structure to your energy. Without it, your potential leaks through distractions and impulses. With it, you direct your power like a laser toward what truly matters. Discipline teaches you patience. It reminds you that mastery is not achieved in bursts of intensity, but in the slow, steady accumulation of consistent effort. When you are disciplined, you no longer chase results. You become the kind of person who naturally produces them, and that identity shift is everything. Discipline is also freedom, freedom from the control of your moods, your fears, and your temptations. It allows you to act according to your values rather than your impulses. The undisciplined person is a slave to emotion, the disciplined person is its master. Through discipline you begin to experience peace, because peace is not the absence of struggle but the alignment of your actions with your purpose. Discipline doesn't make life easier, it makes you stronger, and that strength allows you to carry heavier loads with grace. The more you practice it, the more reliable you become, and reliability, especially to yourself, is one of the highest forms of confidence. Each day you keep your word, you build inner power. Each day you quit, you weaken your resolve. That's why small acts matter. The decision to wake up on time, to finish what you start, to say no to what doesn't serve you. All these choices compound into a life of strength. Discipline transforms ordinary days into sacred rituals of growth. It turns "I have to" into "I get to." You no longer see effort as a burden but as a privilege, a sign that you are moving forward while others remain stuck. Discipline also teaches balance. It's not about being harsh with yourself, it's about being devoted to your evolution. True discipline is compassionate. It understands when to push and when to rest. It doesn't burn you out, it builds you up. It allows you to sustain progress over the long term because it's rooted in purpose, not punishment. The more disciplined you become, the less you depend on external motivation, because your drive comes from within. You stop waiting for the right time or the perfect plan and start realizing that the right time is always now. Each time you act despite resistance, you train your mind to obey your intentions, not your excuses. That obedience to purpose is what separates the great from the average. Discipline, at its core, is love, the deepest form of self-love, because it is the act of doing what will make your future self proud, even when your present self resists. It is choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort, purpose over pleasure, growth over gratification. And while it may not always feel good in the moment, it always pays off in the end. Discipline is what turns vision into reality and effort into excellence. So remember, it is not enough to dream. You must train your mind to act. You must build habits that serve your highest goals and protect them with unwavering consistency. The world doesn't reward the most talented, it rewards the most disciplined. Because talent fades without practice, passion burns out without direction, and motivation dies without commitment, but discipline endures. Discipline sustains you when everything else fails. It is the quiet, steady heartbeat of greatness, the rhythm that keeps you moving forward when the world tells you to stop. And if you can master this, if you can learn to act with discipline, even when you don't feel like it, there will be nothing in life beyond your reach. Chapter 11. The greatest obstacle to living a life of purpose is not failure, but distraction. In today's world, distraction is the new form of destruction. It doesn't ruin your life instantly. It just steals it from you one small piece at a time. Every notification, every mindless scroll, every unnecessary conversation pulls you away from the things that truly matter. And yet, most people don't realize they are being controlled by the very tools they think they control. The ability to focus, truly focus, is becoming one of the rarest and most valuable skills in existence. Focus is power. It's what allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results, because when your attention is unified, your energy becomes unstoppable. Most people never fail because of lack of ability. They fail because they are scattered. Their energy is divided among dozens of things that don't move them forward. But when you learn to focus, you become dangerous, because you direct all of your effort, time, and emotion toward what actually counts. Focus is not just about what you pay attention to, it's also about what you deliberately ignore. Every yes you give must be protected by 1,000 no's. Every goal worth achieving requires the discipline to eliminate distractions that drain your clarity. It's not that people don't have enough time, it's that they waste the time they do have on things that have no return. Imagine how powerful your life would become if you stopped giving your attention to everything that didn't serve your growth. Focus is not a natural state, it is a muscle that must be trained. The mind, left unattended, wanders toward comfort and chaos, but through intentional practice, by setting boundaries, limiting exposure to distractions, and creating clear daily priorities, you can reclaim your focus. Start by asking yourself, what truly deserves my attention today? What is the one thing, if done well, that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? When you live by that principle, you begin to experience momentum. Focus turns confusion into direction. It transforms overwhelm into clarity. It helps you realize that success is not about doing more, but about doing what matters most, repeatedly and relentlessly. The secret to achieving anything great is not scattered effort, it's concentrated force. When sunlight is diffused, it warms. When it's concentrated through a lens, it burns. The same is true for your attention. The more concentrated it becomes, the more power you generate. Focus also requires you to create an environment that supports your vision. You cannot stay focused in a space filled with distractions and noise. You must design your surroundings, both physical and digital, to reflect your priorities. Remove what doesn't serve you. Simplify your schedule. Clean your environment. Curate your digital space. Every distraction you eliminate gives you more energy to invest in your purpose. Focus is also emotional discipline, the ability to stay centered even when life throws chaos at you. It means not reacting to every problem, not chasing every thought, not getting pulled into the drama that surrounds you. Most distractions don't come from the outside world, they come from the inside, from your own untrained mind jumping from one worry to another. When you master focus, you master peace, because your attention no longer gets hijacked by negativity or noise. The truth is, your future depends on your ability to focus. The people who thrive are not necessarily the smartest. They are the ones who can lock in on a single vision and stay consistent until it's real. Focus gives you momentum, and momentum compounds into mastery. Every small task done with full attention builds your capacity to do great things. When you focus deeply, time seems to slow down, creativity expands, and you enter the state of flow where your best self operates effortlessly. That is when you do your most meaningful work. But focus is fragile. It must be guarded fiercely. Guard your mornings, because they set the tone for your day. Guard your mind, because it shapes your destiny. Guard your energy, because where it goes, your life follows. The modern world rewards distraction. It profits from your divided attention, so you must rebel against it. You must become intentional about what enters your mind. Choose silence over noise, depth over speed, quality over quantity. The ability to focus is your greatest competitive advantage in a world addicted to distraction. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, every time you choose to work deeply rather than scroll aimlessly, you strengthen your focus muscle. Over time, this discipline will separate you from the masses. Focused people create, distracted people consume. Focused people lead, distracted people follow. Focused people rise, distracted people remain stuck. And the truth is, nothing extraordinary can ever be built without focus, so make it your mission to master your attention. Don't just protect it, honor it, because where your focus goes, your life grows. In the end, the quality of your life will be determined not by how many things you do, but by how deeply you dedicate yourself to what truly matters. Chapter 12. The power of persistence is what separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who wish from those who win. Persistence is not merely the act of continuing. It is the inner fire that refuses to die, the unshakable decision that no matter how long it takes, you will not quit until you reach your goal. Every great accomplishment in history, every invention, every victory, every breakthrough has one thing in common: someone, somewhere, refused to give up when everything seemed impossible. The world often celebrates talent, luck, or opportunity, but beneath all success lies persistence, the silent force that turns effort into excellence. When you begin a journey, enthusiasm is easy. The excitement of a new goal fuels your motivation. But as time passes, obstacles arise, fatigue sets in, and progress slows. This is the moment where most people stop, the gap between intention and realization. Persistence is what carries you through that gap. It's the discipline to show up when no one is watching, to try again after failure, to stand tall after rejection, to rebuild after loss. It is the understanding that success is not about never falling, but about rising every single time you do. The persistent person knows that the path to greatness is not straight or smooth. It's filled with setbacks, doubts, and detours. But they also know that every obstacle hides an opportunity to grow stronger. Failure does not defeat the persistent, it educates them. They see rejection not as a wall, but as a mirror showing them where to improve. Each challenge becomes fuel for their determination, not a reason to stop. The truth is, most people give up too early. They quit when success was just a few steps away. They let temporary frustration destroy permanent potential. But persistence demands that you push past the noise of doubt and keep moving forward, even when you can't yet see the results. Because persistence is built on faith, faith that your effort will eventually be rewarded, even when the world hasn't caught up to your vision. When you persist, you send a message to the universe, to life itself, that you are serious about your purpose, and life in turn begins to open doors that once seemed locked. The road may be long, but every small step taken in persistence brings you closer to mastery. Over time, persistence builds character. It toughens your spirit and deepens your belief in yourself. You stop seeking instant gratification and start valuing progress over perfection. Persistence transforms you because it forces you to evolve. You cannot persist without growing stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. It teaches you patience, the ability to stay calm in the face of delay, and resilience, the ability to recover from defeat. Together, patience and resilience form the foundation of all lasting success. Every moment you continue, you build momentum, and momentum is what turns persistence into power. Once you have momentum, every action becomes easier, because you're no longer fighting just to start. You're being pulled forward by your own progress. That's why the hardest step in persistence is not the 100th, but the first. The decision to keep going after you've failed. Once you make that decision, you become unstoppable. The beauty of persistence is that it doesn't require perfection, it only requires consistency. You don't have to move fast, you just have to keep moving. Every great mountain is climbed one step at a time. Persistence is not about avoiding pain, it's about accepting it as part of the process. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront your limits, but persistence transforms that pain into strength. The person who persists becomes fearless because they've already faced failure and survived it. They've learned that discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts forever, and so they keep going not because it's easy, but because they refuse to live with what if. Persistence is the highest form of courage because it's not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, patient, and relentless. It's waking up day after day and doing the work, even when progress feels invisible. It's holding on when others let go. It's believing in yourself when no one else does. And eventually, persistence pays off. Not overnight, but over time. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The world begins to notice the person who never stopped showing up. And when that happens, you realize something powerful. That success was never about talent or luck. It was about endurance. The universe rewards the one who refuses to quit. So, whatever you are facing right now, hold the line, keep going. Push one more time, take one more step, try one more day. Because persistence doesn't just change your results, it changes who you are. It turns you from someone who hopes into someone who makes things happen. And that transformation is the greatest victory of all. Chapter 13. The art of saying no is one of the most powerful skills you can ever master, because every yes you give is a trade, an exchange of your time, your energy, and your focus. And most people spend their lives trading those precious resources for things that don't truly matter. Learning to say no is not about arrogance or selfishness. It is about alignment and purpose. It is about protecting the space you need to grow, to think and to focus on what is truly important. The truth is, you cannot do everything, and you should not try. Every opportunity, every invitation, every distraction that you accept without reflection pulls you away from your mission. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they say yes too often, to commitments they don't care about, to people who drain them, to activities that add no value. They confuse business with progress, but the two are not the same. Saying no is the ultimate form of focus. It is the decision to guard your energy like the priceless asset it is. Every yes has a cost, and that cost is your ability to give your best to what truly matters. The more you say yes to what is meaningless, the less you have left for what is meaningful. The most successful people in the world are not those who say yes to everything. They are those who know what to decline. They understand that every great achievement requires deep concentration, and concentration is impossible without boundaries. Saying no creates those boundaries. It draws a line between what deserves your attention and what does not. It's not easy to say no, especially in a world that celebrates constant availability and instant response. We fear disappointing others, missing out, or being misunderstood. But every time you say yes to please others, you say no to your own growth. The cost of being liked by everyone is often being lost to yourself. True confidence is the ability to say no with grace, to stand firm in your priorities without guilt or apology. When you know who you are and what you want, your no becomes an act of integrity. It's a declaration that your time and energy are sacred, and that not everything or everyone deserves access to them. You begin to realize that saying no to good things is sometimes necessary to make room for great things. Growth requires space, and space is created through subtraction, not addition. You have to remove the noise to hear your own voice. You have to clear the clutter to focus on your calling. Every no you say to distraction is a yes to discipline, depth, and direction. The art of saying no is not just about turning things down, it's about making choices that reflect your values. It's about living intentionally rather than reactively. It's about asking, before every commitment, does this align with my purpose? Will this move me closer to my vision or pull me away from it? When you begin to ask these questions, you stop wasting energy on things that don't serve you. You start making decisions from strength, not obligation. Your life begins to simplify, and in that simplicity you find clarity. The more you practice saying no, the stronger you become. You begin to respect yourself more because you're no longer betraying your own boundaries. Others start to respect you more too, because people naturally trust those who live with purpose. Saying no doesn't make you difficult. It makes you decisive. It shows that you value your life enough to protect it from chaos. You will lose some opportunities, yes, but you will gain something far more valuable: time, peace, and focus. When you say no to what doesn't matter, you create the space to say yes wholeheartedly to what does. You begin to live with intention, not impulse. You become more productive, not by doing more, but by doing only what truly counts. Every powerful person you admire, leaders, creators, thinkers, has mastered this art. They don't fill their schedules with noise. They design their days around their mission. They understand that saying yes to everything is the fastest way to dilute their impact. So, they protect their time fiercely, because they know that time once lost can never be regained. The art of saying no also brings freedom. The freedom to live life on your terms, to stop being controlled by external demands. You no longer move out of guilt or fear, you move out of purpose. You no longer chase approval, you pursue alignment. And as you grow stronger in this practice, you'll discover something profound: the world doesn't fall apart when you say no. The people meant for you will understand, the opportunities meant for you will return, and the peace you gain will be worth every rejection you give. Saying no is not a rejection of others, it's an affirmation of yourself. It's choosing authenticity over obligation, depth over distraction, and long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. The art of saying no is, in truth, the art of saying yes to focus, to meaning, and to the life you were truly meant to live. CHTR 14. The power of patience is one of the greatest virtues you can cultivate in a world obsessed with instant results, immediate gratification, and fast success. True mastery, wisdom, and fulfillment do not come to those who rush, but to those who wait, endure, and persist with calm determination. Patience is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things consistently and allowing time to do its work. It's the quiet strength that allows you to keep going when nothing seems to be happening, the discipline to trust the process even when the outcome is not visible. Every great achievement in history was built upon patience. The artist who spent years perfecting his craft, the inventor who failed 1,000 times before succeeding, the leader who endured rejection and hardship before earning respect. Patience is the bridge between effort and success. It transforms hard work into lasting achievement. Most people give up not because they lack ability, but because they lose patience too soon. They want the reward without the waiting, the victory without the struggle, the fruit without the growing season. But nature teaches us that every seed needs time to grow, every tree needs years to mature, and every dream needs space to evolve. When you rush the process, you destroy the outcome. Patience allows growth to happen naturally. It gives you the ability to endure discomfort without quitting. It teaches you to slow down, reflect, and adapt rather than react. Impatience, on the other hand, leads to frustration, poor decisions, and wasted energy. It makes you chase short-term pleasures while sacrificing long-term fulfillment. In the pursuit of goals, patience becomes your greatest ally. It keeps you grounded when results are delayed, and it keeps your emotions stable when life tests you. It reminds you that consistency is more powerful than intensity, that small progress each day compounds into greatness over time. Every step you take in patience strengthens your character, builds your resilience, and aligns your actions with your vision. Patience also deepens your understanding of life and people. It teaches you empathy, because when you learn to wait, you also learn to listen. You begin to understand that everyone moves at their own pace, and that timing plays a greater role in success than talent alone. Patience with others makes you wiser, calmer, and more compassionate. You stop expecting perfection and start appreciating progress. You realize that relationships, like dreams, grow best when nurtured with time and understanding. In a world where everyone wants to rush ahead, patience becomes your superpower. It separates you from the crowd and gives you a depth that few possess. It allows you to remain calm in chaos, steady in storms, and confident in uncertainty. It helps you see that everything beautiful takes time: the sunrise, the seasons, love, trust, healing, and mastery. Nothing truly valuable can be built overnight. Even the strongest structures rest on foundations that took years to lay. When you embrace patience, you free yourself from the anxiety of control. You stop forcing outcomes and start trusting timing. You begin to see delays not as denials but as preparation. The waiting season is often the training season, the time when your strength, wisdom, and maturity are being formed. The longer the preparation, the greater the reward. Life does not always move according to your schedule, but it always moves according to purpose. Patience helps you align with that purpose rather than fight against it. It gives you peace in the process, faith in the unseen, and power in persistence. So when you face delays or disappointments, don't curse the waiting, use it. Learn, grow, and keep moving forward. The universe rewards those who do not rush but remain faithful through time. Greatness is never instant. It's the result of patience, perseverance, and persistence. The longer you wait with purpose, the stronger your foundation becomes. Remember, patience is not weakness. It's quiet strength. It's the courage to hold on when others let go, to keep believing when evidence says otherwise, and to stay focused when distractions tempt you to quit. Every moment of patience builds emotional muscle and spiritual depth. It shapes your character in ways that speed never can. The world may rush, but those who are patient build legacies that last. Be patient with your growth, your dreams, and yourself, because every great thing that ever existed was once a small seed that dared to wait. CAPTR 15. The art of self-mastery is the ultimate destination of personal growth, for it is the point where you no longer need to be pushed, persuaded, or motivated by external forces. You become your own guide, your own discipline, your own power. Self-mastery is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself, your thoughts, emotions, impulses, and habits, so that nothing within you can be used against you. It is the ability to remain calm under pressure, focused amidst distractions, and grounded in your purpose no matter what the world throws at you. Those who achieve self-mastery live by principle, not by preference, by vision, not by circumstance. They do what is necessary even when it is difficult, and they resist what is easy when it leads them away from growth. This level of control does not come overnight. It is forged through daily discipline, constant reflection, and the courage to confront one's weaknesses without denial. Every day, life presents a battle between comfort and purpose, fear and courage, reaction and reason, and in each of those battles, you either strengthen your will or surrender to your impulses. Self-mastery is won in the quiet moments when no one is watching. When you choose to wake up early, stay consistent, keep your word, or resist temptation. It's in these invisible victories that true strength is built. The person who has mastered themselves no longer wastes energy on regret or excuses. They understand that discipline creates freedom, while indulgence creates chains. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's having the power to do what is right, even when your emotions resist it. A mastered mind can endure pain, delay gratification, and stay loyal to a mission without being swayed by moods or distractions. It's a mind that responds rather than reacts, that pauses before speaking, that observes before judging. When you reach this level of control, you stop blaming circumstances and start creating outcomes. You no longer let the noise of the world dictate your peace, because you have found stillness within. Self-mastery gives you a power that no one can take away. the ability to direct your life with intention rather than impulse. But it also demands humility, because you must constantly recognize that the battle is never truly over. Each new challenge reveals a deeper layer of the self that still needs refining. To master yourself is to live in awareness, to know your triggers, and to train your mind to serve you instead of sabotage you. It means cultivating habits that align with your values and protecting your time, focus, and energy as sacred. You become the gatekeeper of your own attention, deciding what enters your mind and what deserves your effort. The more you practice self-mastery, the more your life begins to flow with clarity and purpose. You no longer chase external validation because your satisfaction comes from inner alignment. You move with quiet confidence because you trust yourself completely. You know that no matter what happens, you can handle it. This is the power of an anchored mind. Self-mastery also transforms your relationships, for when you control your emotions, you stop reacting from ego and start responding from wisdom. You no longer get trapped in conflicts that drain your peace. You rise above them, choosing understanding over pride. You learn that the strongest person is not the one who dominates others, but the one who conquers their own weaknesses. Every time you choose patience over anger, discipline over laziness, humility over ego, and focus over distraction, you ascend a little higher toward mastery. And though the path may be difficult, it leads to the most liberating truth that happiness, peace, and success are not found in control of the world, but in control of the self. The person who masters themselves becomes unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because they get stronger, wiser, and calmer with every challenge. Self-mastery is the crown of personal evolution. The moment you realize that every external battle was only a reflection of the war within. Once you conquer that inner war, you become free from doubt, fear, and the need for approval. You begin to live by design, not by default. You act not out of reaction, but out of purpose. You no longer chase balance, you embody it. This is the highest form of success, to know yourself so completely that no chaos outside can disturb the peace within. That is the power of mastery, the power that transforms not just your actions but your very being.